Hello there. Well, I just thought I'd do a short piece to camera. As you can see, I haven't been to the barber's this month, so I think I might have to do that soon before the wife starts telling me off. I look a bit like Wolverine at the moment. Anyway, as you know, last Friday, Royal Enfield announced the new Bullet, a new 350 Bullet. And a question that's come up a couple of times, and I thought I'd put my 2 penn'orth worth in. The question has been asked is, well, why didn't they launch that first? They launched a Meteor, and they launched a 350 Classic, and they launched the Hunter. And only then did they launch a 350 Bullet. Well, a lot of people were a little disappointed, as they thought maybe we'd be getting a stonking 500 Bullet, or a Bullet with twin cylinder 650. No, I didn't think this was very sensible, and what has happened is pretty much what I expected to happen, and I'll tell you why. Well, if we go back a little bit in time to the Bullet models before the J series came out, the penultimate models of the Bullet were coming out, of which I own one. I've got a 2016 Enfield Bullet 500, and it's got disc brake at the front and a drum brake at the rear, because I bought the 2016 model because I didn't want a disc at the rear, because they changed the swinging arm and everything like that. That was just my own personal preference. I wanted the full fat, undiluted experience with the Bullet. I wasn't daft enough to want to go back to the pre-unit engine, no, because I'm not silly. Well, actually, my wife says I'm silly, but that's another story. Anyway, the thing is, they did the Bullet, which is the bike that has the slightly squared off mudguard, seat valance mudguard, and the dual seat. That's the traditional Bullet there. And the other model they were doing at the same time was the Classic, much beloved of Saddlebag 73 and Tame. Very nice they are, and they were a very popular model in this country, as was the maybe to a lesser extent the ordinary Bullet. And the third model, which we didn't see in this country, was a Bullet-derived cruiser called the Thunderbird. Now here's where my theory comes in. My theory is based on observation of what's actually going on in the world, rather than any speculations and such like. But the thing is, right now, the one argument I did have with somebody else was, well, I said, well, I expect the Bullet's going to be a single cylinder, the new one, that is. And they said, oh, well, no, it might be the new 650 engine. I said, no. I said, it wouldn't make sense. And they said, well, it would make sense because they've got the 650. They want a replacement for that. I said, no, it doesn't make sense. The Bullet, for the most part, the popular, iconic Bullet has always been a single cylinder. And I didn't see any reason why Royal Enfield would change that, because it'd be going against so many decades of the indigenous market research, if you see what I mean. Anyway, what happened was we got the Meteor, which is a marvellous motorbike, and I've got one. I run that alongside my Bullet. I take the Bullet out on days like this when the sun is out. In fact, I'm going to do that very thing in a little while. And the Meteor was a nice machine. And the reason it was bought out when it was because it was meant to appeal to younger, well, I suppose cruiser-type riders in India, a younger demographic. And also, they figured it would be a good model to launch in Europe and the UK. And, of course, they were right. They sold loads of them. In fact, the year it came out, it was the best-selling single-cylinder motorbike going, I think, if memory serves. anyway, that's all by the by. What happened then was we got the Classic. Now, there's a reason the Classic came out next. The thing is with the Classic is it's styled after the 500 Classic, which, of course, as I say, Saddlebags got one and various other people. All that chrome and classic lines and whatnot. So that made sense. You've got to remember, I'm looking at this through the lens of not as a British biker, but I'm looking at this through the lens of what I know of the Indian market. The knowledge of which is easy to come by if you do a little bit of research. Anyway, there's still a demographic in India of older riders, silly greybeards like me basically, who are very resistant to change. And they weren't selling those J-platform bikes to those people. And I think the reason they didn't bring the Bullet out when they did, until they did, was because basically they wanted to prove to their older demographic in their home market that the J-platform was desirable and, most importantly, reliable, and that the new format would be a good idea. Well, Royal Enfield now, with the success of the Meteor and the Classic under the belt, plus, of course, the Hunter, not forgetting the Hunter, but the Hunter is a little bit of a departure, because of the steering geometry and stuff is basically set up for urban riding, which is nice, and it's a marvellous motorbike. My friend Peter up in Windermere, Lanes Explorer, has a couple of those, and he thinks they're marvellous, and from what I've seen of his rides on them, they are absolutely ideal for riding lanes as well as urban. Although it's pitched as an urban bike, I can see its attraction as a lanes exploring bike, which is pretty much what I do. Anyway, they've just brought out the Bullet 350. Now, why isn't there 500, I hear you cry? Well, they need to get the J series firmly entrenched in the market. You ain't going to go ahead and think about 500 until you've successfully set up your 350 market. You've got to remember, from Royal Enfield's point of view, the 350 market is the most important. It's their bread and butter. That's where they've made their money over the years. They still, up until this new Bullet, they were still producing the old 350 Bullet, because they still had a whole sizable demographic of people who wanted the old Bullet. And they obviously, for various reasons, notwithstanding the emission regulations in Europe and stuff like that, they knew that they were going to have to end production of that as well at some point, because they are actually going to run out of customers for that eventually, as the demographic of customers who ride the original 350 Bullets start to get older and stop riding and stuff like that. They're actually going to end up making a bike that nobody is going to buy. Well, very few, when they've made that mistake in the past. And they're trying not to make past mistakes. So, as from my point of view, what they've done makes perfect sense. And so, as far as I can tell, I believe somebody saw on the website, the Bullet 350 will be coming to the UK and other markets, which is not surprising, seeing as how it conforms to the Euro regulations and such like, and I'm sure we can undo all that nonsense with the help of Hitchcocks, like we usually do, because here we still get to fettle our own bikes the way we want. That's a freedom that we've got, and that's a freedom we should defend as well, so bear that in mind. I'm not going to go all political at this point. I'm too old for that nonsense. Basically, it's down to you younger ones. I'm sorry to say, Some of us old greybeards have been campaigning on riders' rights for a very long time, and well, we're all in retirement age now, and quite frankly, we just want to potter around on our bikes. But I, for one, used to be a mag activist years ago, when I lived in London, and I've done my bit, and it's now down to my oldest grandson who's just started riding, my son who's riding, and some of you younger ones are going to have to pick up the gauntlet, I'm afraid. Well, I'm not going to be here forever. Anyway, the Bullet, for what it's worth, the new Bullet, it looks like the old Bullet. So hopefully the styling side of things will satisfy the older demographic. But of course now they're probably well aware that the J platform engine and chassis setup is absolutely brilliant, because they'll have had all the reviews coming out of the Euro and UK markets to go by, and also their home market as well. I know quite a lot of Indian chaps on YouTube have made various videos about the new models. So I think actually what Royal Enfield has done actually makes a lot of sense. Now, as for speculation, well, we can all speculate. We can all do that. I'm going to make a small speculation. I think because of the way the J series engine is set up, I think that the engineers, engineered some wherewithal into that engine for it to be sleeved up to 499cc. You can see where I'm going with this. I think in due course the 350 models will gain a 500 variant, because Royal Enfield know that they can sell single cylinder 500s in Europe and the UK probably relatively easy, because there's a bunch of us old greybeards who would love to see, now we know the nature of the J platform, we'd love to see a J platform in 500cc. There are also those, of course, would like to see a twin-cylinder 650 version of it. But I contend that this goes against Royal Enfield's tradition to a certain extent, because for the most part, from the 1930s onwards, Bullet has always been a big single. Now, you can argue with me as much as you like about that, but, you know, I'm a bit stubborn, and this is what I'd like to see. I mean, I'll freely admit it's wishful thinking. But I'll tell you what, if they do bring out a 500, I'll be making my way down to Superbike Warehouse in Yarmouth, who are my local Royal Enfield dealers, and be biting a hand off to get a test ride on it, and probably end up buying it, because they know I've got a nasty habit of liking a bike and slapping money on the counter, and you know, because I'm old and I can. Of course, that's not always an option open to other people, but I do like me Royal Enfields as much as I like me trains, and that's another weird thing, what I think. But I'm surprised how many of you out there who watch my motorcycle videos also watch my train videos. So, if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe, because YouTube wants an aneurysm or something. Or analytics, aneurysms, or something like that. It's all a bit too technical for me, quite honestly. Look, I'm an old Luddite. You like steam trains and single-cylinder thumpers. I mean, you know, what do you expect? I gave up all that tech nonsense when I retired. In which case, why am I talking to this camera? I might have to go and rethink my life choices here. Anyway, yeah, I don't make any money out of these videos at all. In fact, actually, it costs me money to make them. I don't monetize them. I don't want to be on that commercial treadmill. I just like to come and make a film once in a while. I mean, obviously, my railway films are model railways and real railways, and occasionally the cat photo bombs the videos I make here in the den. Anyway, I think that covers everything for the moment, other than to say that, well, first of all, I'm sorry the P2 video took so long. It should have been a good couple of weeks back, but obviously because of Royal Mail and a blown chip, it all got delayed. But you'll find that video's up now. And I'm shortly going to be making another bullet time video on Poppy the Bullet, which I might be doing this afternoon, in actual fact, because the sun is out. I've got itchy throttle hand, and I think my wife wants to get rid of me for a couple of hours because she's doing that spring cleaning thing she does. The trouble is, when she does spring cleaning, it's all year round. It's bloody disconcerting. I can never find my socks. I couldn't find my toolbox the other week. Turns out she had it stashed in a cupboard under the stairs instead of in the garage. But anyway, that's been put right now. Oh, speaking of things put right, I managed to sort out all my mirrors and tighten them up and whatnot, so hopefully they won't be coming loose again on the next ride out. You see, I rather foolishly tried some power end mirrors on my Meteor, and I'll be perfect. I didn't film the ride I did on there, but I just can't get on with power end mirrors. I tried. I've gone back to the Mickey Mouse job, so I much prefer them. But then I haven't got very wide shoulders, so I suppose the Mickey Mouse mirrors work for me, whereas they might not work for somebody with broader shoulders. So there is that. Yeah, I'm sorry about all the face fuzz. I've been so busy with other stuff, I just haven't had time to go down to the barber's yet. And as you can see, it's high time I went. If I leave it any longer, I'm going to go from a Wolverine lookalike to Bigfoot. Mind you, my wife says to me, if I shave my beard off, I'll look younger and I'll have trouble getting my senior's discount. I don't know if that's some sort of compliment or... You can never go and tell with the wife. I'll be perfectly honest, I'm having a little peace and quiet in here at the moment because she's doing a crochet. So, fingers crossed she's in a good mood. Anyway, I'll love you and leave you. Keep the shiny side up, the rubber side down. Be nice to everybody. Have a marvellous day. I think I've nicked everybody's cliches here. Well, I haven't found my own cliche apart from tally-ho. Catch you later.